Most people lock the doors on their car when they're not in it. Many people keep their windows and their doors locked in their houses. Sometimes if you're walking through those streets, you got to tuck your chain. This episode, we're going to talk about how you won't get jacked.
Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarrett Patton.
Yeah, I know a lot of you guys are like, what is he talking about? What are we getting jacked? We gotta, strap up, get our guns and keep ourselves protected. Well, no, we're talking about protecting yourself in a different way. And really, this comes from one of the questions in my mailbag. Had a discussion just the other day with someone asking about intellectual property and how do I protect myself. So, hey, we're going to talk about it in this episode right after we finish thanking our sponsors. Hey, this is Dr. Jarrett Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, Licensed to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. Licensed to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. EH3 coffee.
The time is now to refresh your career. We help doctors, lawyers, executives, and VIPs refresh and restart. Dr. Jarrett's coaching helps you build confidence, gain more credibility, develop more leadership skills, and gain clarity in your career path. Want to climb the executive ladder or branch out on your own? We'll put your career in overdrive. Visit drjarrett.com and sign up for your free strategy session.
This is Super Bowl champion Mike Logan, and you are listening to Licensed to Live.
Do you know where your kids are? You know, that old commercial. Some of you guys aren't even old enough to know what that commercial is, but all of these security systems, people want to protect you online and the internet. They want to protect you, your home. They want to give you security. You get cameras everywhere. Your car is locked up and has an alarm on it. And you're locking up all of these things that can keep you safe, your family safe, maybe your belongings safe, maybe you even have a safe. And all of these things are great, but a lot of times people kind of forget. They're not even thinking about their own creations, and it is important to protect your intellectual property. So we're going to talk about this, and I'll start with a personal story. Many of you guys know about my License to Live book series. We have the original, and then we have the Daily Affirmations, and yeah, I'm working on yet another one. I'll have to tell you more about that book as it's coming out in the coming months. Hashtag VIP life. But people are always asked to protect things. And, as I was building my business and building my brand, I decided to take some steps to protect my intellectual property. I thought that License to Live was a good idea. And I said, looks like nothing is there. And I looked around, checked some things, and then said, okay, well, let's roll forward with this. Then many of you guys may not know that I have a parenting series of books called Whose Badass Kids Are Those? And the ass is spelled with the @ sign, $, because, let's face it, when pediatricians write books, they talk about how to hug your child gently, or how to kiss your baby safely, or, picking your baby up with 2 hands to hold them in a gentle nature. It's all these kind of soft sounding books. And, after my License to Live story, I said, I don't need to be like some of these other guys with these soft titles. I'm just going to call it out as I see it. Whose badass kids are those? People have said that. You've been in the mall, you've been in the grocery store, and you've asked yourself that question sometime in your life. So I also thought that that was a great brand that could stand on its own. So luckily, I took the steps to protect myself, and I'll talk about how to do that in just a minute. But I took some steps to protect myself, and I was kind of half-hearted doing it. I was sitting there saying, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't. But hey, at the time I wrote this book back in 2017 or so, I thought to myself, well, nobody even knows who I am. Why would I even go through this time or expense to protect this? Because, well, nobody's going to steal my idea. But I said, you know what? I had already trademarked License to Live. I said, let me just go ahead and trademark Whose Badass Kids Are Those? Well, hey, coming a few years later, one of my fans on Facebook sent me a picture. And people send me stuff all the time. And if you want to send me stuff on social media, send it to me at Dr. Jarrett, whatever platform you like. Spell out the word doctor, J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T. And they sent me a message with an interesting picture. And, by the time I got around to it, I looked at it. I said, this is interesting. You know what that picture was? It was a picture of a new book being released just in the preceding days called Whose Badass Kids Are These? I said, what? What is this? I said, this looks strangely familiar to a book and a book series that I'd written, because by that time, the second Whose Badass Kid book or those book came out. So I thought to myself, whoa, let's figure this out. And I don't like this. And well, what did I do? I took it to where any good business person should take it. We took it to those legal streets. So I called up my attorney and said, hey, doesn't this look strangely familiar? And looked at the book title, the book cover, and she told me, oh, yeah, this looks like somebody's trying to steal your stuff. And I could not believe it. So, well, after a cease and desist letter was sent, all of a sudden the book came down. It was off the market, and it was rebranded as some other book out there. And just that easily, your intellectual property can be taken. So I want you guys to think about this. Many of you guys are in an employment contract and you work for hospitals or health systems. And unfortunately, because you're working in areas of research, you're working in areas of ingenuity, And the brand of this hospital or health system continues to come out with new things, well, mainly on the backs of their employees, let's face it. And in most people's contracts for employment, there are clauses about intellectual property. So if you're creating something on your own, if you're creating something in conjunction with your job, well, your job, your employer is the one that owns it. So you have to be careful about those kind of things, especially if you want to branch out and start some things on your own. And that can be very tricky. So if you're going into a new employment contract and you say, yeah, this job is going to be fine, but I want to do some other things in my life for me, you're going to have to pay careful attention to those clauses because they're almost always in there. Just like a no compete clause may be in there, but the intellectual property clauses are real because, hey, they figure you are being paid on the company's dime. And if anything wonderful is created, well, it belongs to the company. And that doesn't seem right when it's your brain power, but that's how it works. And that is why you must protect your intellectual property. Because for me, if I did not take those steps to protect it, then it would have been right on out there. And so, well, how did I look to protect my stuff? Let me just give you a quick and dirty piece of this. Well, the U.S. Trade Patent and Trademark Office, uspto.gov, is a place to start. If you think you have a good idea, go to that website and search your word terms. And of course, you can have a word term or a design character. There's lots of things, that we'll get into, maybe even another episode. I just want to cover some of the basics right now. And you can look things up. So if you think you have a good idea that maybe is a catchy phrase, look it up. See if somebody else is using it. Somebody else has trademarked it. Because if they haven't, you may need to go and do that. So, what do you have to do? Well, you have to have a good idea, and then you have to prove use. And so for the License to Live trademark, for instance, we have it locked down in books. We have it locked down in entertainment. And we have it locked down in merchandise and a couple of other categories because, well, I am using it in those areas. The areas of entertainment, well, just because I have this License to Live, R with a circle on it, trademark, registered federally. That is in the entertainment category. I've written a couple of books entitled License to Live, and I plan on writing another book called License to Live. Guess what? That covers me in the book category. And you can go on and merchandise and some other things and get these categories locked down because, well, you're using it that way. I'm using some education. In fact, the License to Live conference, which is highly entertaining, but it is also informational and educational. And if you want 8.5 CME credits, go to licensed2live.com now and watch the replay, and you'll get your certificate, and your life is going to be changed by those speakers that were on the stage. You heard about many of them in the series, What Did You Miss This Summer? Earlier in the podcast. So go back and check out those episodes. But no matter how you want to do it, if you come up with a good idea, take measures to protect yourself. And you know what? I mean, why am I even trying to tell you? Let me just see if I can call one of my friends up who will tell us all about this. And she's my trademark attorney, Dr. Attorney and Andrea Hence-Evans. One of the best trademark attorneys in this country. And she helped me protect my intellectual property and even had to defend it against that jacker who wanted to take my Who's Badass Kids Are Those book series. Somebody else thought it was a good idea. Let me see if I can get her on the line. Let's see here.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Andrea? This is Dr. Jarrett.
Hi, Dr. Jarrett. Thanks for having me.
Great. How are you doing? I hope everything is well. Hey, look, I am on the License to Live podcast right now. I hate to give you a call last minute like this, but I said, you know what? Why am I talking about this when I can get an expert right on here? I told him about the Whose Badass Kids Are Those book saga and how people were trying to jack that title from me, and you helped me defend it. But just let me start off with one question for you. Why is it important for you to protect your intellectual property?
Okay, so intellectual property is extremely important. First, what is it? Intellectual property is divided into three parts: patents, trademarks, and copyrights. Patents protect inventions, trademarks protect your brands, and copyrights protect your written works. So if you've invented a television, you're going to want to patent that television. You're going to want to trademark the brand name Sony, and then you're going to want to copyright those scripts. Now, people need to mind their intellectual property and protect it, because if you don't, essentially you're giving it away. And we work so hard. There's so many benefits of protecting your intellectual property that it only makes sense to take the necessary steps to protect it. Some of the benefits are like real property. You can license it, you can assign it, you can sell it, you can will it. And so you want to make sure that when you think that you have invented something, or when you're planning to launch a business, that you seek the help of an intellectual property attorney to help to fully understand your options so that you don't jeopardize your rights, or worse, if you miss the opportunity to protect your rights.
That is awesome, because, you know, so many people want to protect their intellectual property, and they need to, and then they don't even think it can happen to them. I told the story about how I didn't think it was going to happen to me, that somebody was going to try to take my stuff. So give us a little bit on how should you go about protecting your intellectual property?
So people can protect their intellectual property in a few ways. The first thing is definitely you cannot mail yourself a copy of whatever your invention is or whatever your script is and not open it and think that you have some protection. So that's one of the biggest myths. First, patents and trademarks are actually protected and registered at the United States Patent and Trademark Office. So there are a lot of scams. You want to make sure that if you have an invention, you seek the help of an attorney to help you do some research to determine if it's patentable. You want to make sure that if you are dealing with a brand or a trademark, that you have an attorney research to ensure that you won't face any obstacles. And then from there, you're going to want to register that at uspto.gov. Now, copyrights, on the other hand, are registered at copyright.gov. So bookmark those sites. Bookmark evansiplaw.com. And if I can help, just let me know.
Wow. That amazing stuff. You know, we're going to have to get you back on for a full episode. I know you're busy. You're probably, walking into a courtroom right now or firing off some cease and desist letters for people. I'm going to let you get back to your day. But thanks for giving us a few minutes of your time and your expertise. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Well, folks, you heard it from the expert. I mean, there's ways to go about protecting your intellectual property. It's something that you should do, because just like you take the daily precautions to lock up your car, lock up your house, you secure your belongings, you're doing all of that. Don't forget about your intellectual property. And don't forget, folks, if you want to reach out to Andrea, simply check her out at evansiplaw.com. And I'll keep that information in the show notes, because she is a wealth of information about protecting your intellectual property. Remember, fire starters, if you or anyone you know has been dissed, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe. And then you will be tuned into the most up-to-date information about career challenges and life changes. And if you want to check out what's going on in between episodes, make sure you check me out on social media at Dr. Jarrett. Spell out the word Dr. J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T. Keep sending your questions. Keep sending your comments. Hey, please rate this episode, because That's how we make the show better and better and better, because who is this show for? It is for you, the fire starters out there. And until the next time we get together, see you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarrett's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.